Alright, so welcome back. I believe this is page 21 of your packet. It's Unit 5 of the notes. Again, I'm going to be referring to a unit circle, so you may want to pull one up on the web to look at, or you may want to have one out that's in your packet or something like that. Now, a lot of this stuff will be the exact same as it was yesterday. A few more complicated, just a few looking a little different. Now, when you start looking at these, we're going to isolate and solve for the variable here, but it's going to be over the interval 0 to 2 pi, which means I'm not going around in circles, so not adding 2 pi n to the problem. So it's limiting it to one trip around the unit circle, and it's also telling me my answers should just be in radians. So you don't have to get both. I'm just specifically looking for the radian answer on these. So when we start with these, we have 2 cos x minus root 3 equals to 0. I add roots over. That's not an issue. You can do that. Divide by 2, get the number in front away. So I have the trig function equals root 3 over 2. So I want the x value in the ordered pair to be root 3 over 2. And that's a positive, actually, in that. So when I look at that and look at the unit circle, I say, okay, it happens here at 30 degrees, but I really only want it in radians, so pi over 6. And then I get into the negative, which doesn't work in negative, and then the other positive here is 11 pi over 6. Sorry, so pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. And that's it. So very much similar to what we did, but instead of going around and around a circle, you just got to pay attention. It says in the one interval of one circle in radians. It could say from 0 to 360 degrees, and then you would just give me 30 degrees and 330, and so you just give me the degree answer like you did on the last unit test. Alright, this one is slightly different because you have two tangents here. You want to do a GCF of tangent x. So there's your GCF. So you want it on the outside of the parentheses. Okay, so it's like tangent minus 1. And once you do this, you're kind of separated where there's multiplication. So I'm looking for where the tangent of x is going to be 0 on its own. And I'm separating this and say tangent x minus 1 is going to be 0. So remember, tangent is again that little bit of a tricky one where you have to think of the y and the x value. So it's y over x, and I have 0, so it means 0 over 1. So, or it could be plus or minus 1. So I'm either looking for 1, 0 or negative 1, 0. Specifically looking though for that 0 to be in the y value coordinates. So for those in terms of radians, that does happen at 0. That happens over at 180. So so far my answers are at 0 pi radians. That's for the first part of it. Now the other part is tangent of x minus 1 equals 0, add the 1 over. So tan x is equal to 1. Remember, this is 1 over 1 is y over x. Now, I know on the unit circle we don't have anything where it's 1 over 1. But you're looking for the same thing, so you're looking for a positive answer here for the fraction. So it's either going to be a positive x and a positive y, or a negative x and a negative y. And I want the same thing on top and on bottom. So when you order pair, you want them to both be positives or both be negatives, but you want the exact same thing to be for the x and for the y. So when you start looking at that, that only happens at 45 degrees, so pi over 4. And then again at 5 pi over 4. So root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2, those are the same thing, top and bottom. That would make me a 1. So that's pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. So all 4 of these answers, even though I split it up, all 4 of these answers would give me what I am looking for here. If you think you're good with that, go ahead and pause the video right now, because on the next one you have sine tan x minus sine x equals 0. We have another GCF. If you feel like you're good on that, pull it out, see what you can solve, and then keep playing it. Sine x, pull it out, you have tan x minus 1 equals 0. Zero product property, you have sine of x is equal to 0, so I'm looking for the y value, and the order pair is a 0. And you have tan x minus 1 is equal to 0. So again, you're looking for where the tangent of x is equal to a positive 1. So the y and the x value are the exact same thing. So for sine of x is equal to 0, that again is at 0 radians and pi radians. And then pi over 4 for that one, and 5 pi over 4 for that one. Alright, that concludes the notes on this page. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.